Hey everyone, it's Yandia here. Recently I recorded my testimony of the two near-death experiences that I had in January on the 15th and on the 16th this year, 2024. Ever since putting out that video, I have received so much love and so many positive comments and feedback and a lot of questions. So I wanted to do this quick little video. Hopefully it's quick. But I did want to answer a very important question which came up, which is, how do we love? Now, I'm not going to go through the whole experience again on this video. You can feel free to watch my video, What Dying Taught Me, and you can get the entire testimony on that video. One of my subscribers asked, how do I love? And another said, it's funny that we really are never taught how to love the right way. So I want to take this time just to make this video to discuss exactly that. In my near-death experience, and most of you already know this, that I really don't like that word near-death experience because it really was a closer to life experience. These experiences have brought me closer to life, literally understanding what life is about and most importantly, how to love. In this video, I'll be speaking about the second near-death experience I had, which was on the 16th. I had one on the 15th, returned home from the hospital, and had the other one on the 16th, just shortly after returning home. So when I got home on the 16th, I would say like about 2 hours after getting home, I had continued bleeding, continued hemorrhaging, and I had lost over 40% of my blood at that point. And I lost consciousness again. So during this time, what was happening is that I would keep going in and out of consciousness. And it got to a point where I had no more strength to hold on. And it was during this time that I really do believe that I died. My husband says I had no signs of life and all of that, but it was during that time that I experienced the explanation of what love actually is. And I'm going to go more in depth into it in another video, but for now I just wanted to answer that question of how do we love? So I'm going to touch on this little part of the closer to life experience, so to give you some context. When I went back into the spirit realm, I saw my life, flash before me. It was like slides of my life from the beginning of my birth all the way up until January 16th. I saw everything. And after that, I was in what seemed to be like a room, but it didn't have any walls, but I was in a space where as far as I could look, as far as I could see, there were people, so many people. And I had encountered all of these people throughout my entire life up until that point. And I was so shocked that these people would have been in this place. Like, I didn't think that I would have to account for each of these, interactions or each of these connections. Because in this place, there were people who were so far back. I can look and I could know exactly who they were, but maybe the interaction was something as simple as a cashier at a grocery store, or someone who, like the mailman, like nothing really big interactions. But I knew when I looked over into these areas, like far back, I knew exactly who these people were. I knew that I had interacted with them, right? And what that interaction was like. But they were so far back and it was very dim. And as it got closer to me, the lights were getting brighter. Each of these people appeared like lights, right? In this place. So, but lights of, different degrees, brighter lights and dimmer lights. All of the dim lights were towards the back. And as it got closer to me, it got brighter and brighter. In the very front was my husband and my 5 children. All, they were there. I could see their form, but they weren't in a physical form. They were just like balls of light. It's hard to explain because I could tell that it was them, but what was the important part of them, or the part that stood out was their light. So I knew that in this place, it's like everything is true. There's no lie in this place, where when you're there, it's like there is no lie. And all of us will have to go through this. You do not have to take my word for it. And maybe when you get there, you could come back maybe and tell us, about your experience. But I am telling you that all of us will one day have to give an account for our life. We will have to give an account for every single soul that we have interacted with. When we get to the other side, we will have to give an account for one thing and one thing only. Have we loved? And this is where the question comes in. Well, what is love? Because until that time, I thought that I was loving. I actually did. I thought that, by doing all these things for my children, doing these things for my husband, doing these things for family and friends and clients, I thought that I was loving. I thought that loving was all the things that I was doing, all the ways that I was sacrificing, what I want to do for myself. Okay, I'm going to put myself aside and I'm going to do that for people, right? Whether it be my children, my husband, or friends, family, clients, strangers, it doesn't matter. And it wasn't until I had that experience that when I saw the people who were far and the people who were close, what I also experienced was I was able to see that at a certain time, like I started going, like they stayed and I started going further back. And as I was going further back, although there was no time in this place that I was, as I started going further back, it's like I could feel time passing, right? And I could feel that as time passed, the light was dimming, right? Their light was getting dimmer, not because I was going further away from them, but it actually was getting dimmer. And, looking at the lights, it's funny because when you're in this place, you can look at something and you can know exactly what it is. You know all the history of it. So I could look at the lights and I could actually tell, like the quality of love. And love has a quality. I always thought, love is an emotion, it's a feeling. But after that experience, I knew, and during that experience, it was made so clear to me, love is not just an emotion. Love is actually a physical thing, a tangible thing that can be weighed. And all of us are going to be weighed. All of our entire life is going to be weighed. And what's being weighed is actually love. Were you loving in this situation? Were you loving towards this person? Were you loving, when you said that? Were you being true? Right? And the question is, sometimes we can fool ourselves. Sometimes we can, do what's right. Right? You're doing what's right. So you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm doing what's right. I'm doing what's seemingly good. So I must be loving. But in actual fact, you're still not loving. So as I kept going further and further away from my husband and children, it's like their light was dimming. And I understood that their light was the quality of love that we had created when I was here on earth. I knew that if I had created a better quality of love, I can go as far back and that light would continue to be as bright as it was when I was just starting off with them right in front of me. So I knew that eventually around the 8-year period, they got really dim. And again, there's no time in this place, but I was feeling what I perceived as about 8 years. So I knew that after dying, around the 8-year mark, 8 years after my death, my children and my husband, they would not be able to feel me anymore. It's like love has an essence, it has a presence. And this is when I started understanding that love is a presence. Love actually contains life. Like love is alive. Love is spirit. Love is light. Love is essence. Love is the fabric of all things. It is love that everything else is created by. I don't know if the word for it is a molecule or whatever. That wasn't said to me. I'm just telling you that I could see it as a substance. I could see it as something that was tangible, something that could be, qualified, quantified, whatever you want to call it. But I knew that there was a way to grow this thing. I knew that there was a way to make it stronger. And the more I stayed in this place, it was very weird, because I remember even when I was there, I was thinking, like, I was taking in so many details. I was taking in so many details of this place that I was and what everything was, that I remember thinking to myself, like, this is important. Like, I knew that what I was experiencing was important. And I feel like there's so many things I experienced, but this particular time of being with all of these people and seeing love and understanding what love is and how to grow love and how to give love and how to receive love, it was so much about love that I felt like it was being like encoded in me. I felt like it was being engraved in me so that I could never forget it. And this is how I know that I have to share this message. I have to help people who want to know how to love, because as I experienced going further and further back from my family and seeing their light dimming, my heart was breaking. For the first time in this entire experience, I did not feel, it wasn't fear that I was feeling, it was total heartbreak. It was the fact that now in this place, I understood what love was. I understood that I wasn't loving my family and other people who I had encountered that I thought I was loving. And I now understood how to do it. And I could see that after around that 8-year mark, my family, that essence, that actual substance that is alive, that you create this love with people. You make love with people. Making love is not this just go and have sex with somebody. Ooh, you love each other, you're making love. No, making love is a spiritual thing. You can make love with a plant. You could make love with your pet. You could make love with your children. You could make love with your artwork. You could make love with your song. You could make love with your husband, with your wife, with your partner. You can make love with a student, with a teacher. You could make love with God. You could make love with yourself. Love is something that is being made, and it's being made all the time. Whenever you are present, whenever you give your entire mind, your entire heart, and your soul to something, in that moment, you are making love. You are making love. Something very interesting is that when I was going through this whole process of being, experiencing time passing between my family and myself after my death, I just knew for a fact that if I could come back to earth, if I could come back to this side of things, I knew that I could get it right. I knew that I could do it. So I started begging. I started really, honestly, I can't say asking. I was like begging God, to please give me a second chance. And at that time, I remember I came back into my body, and my husband had been on the phone with 911 trying to get an ambulance. I was going in and out several times, and throughout this experiencing different things throughout the time. Every time I would go back in, something would either continue, or I would be like in another space, experiencing something else, understanding something else, and coming in and out. So anyhow, but I remember when I came back out, I said to my husband, I said to him, can we please pray? Can we please just ask, if we ask together? Because the most beautiful thing is that I remember when I was in this place, I could feel like as soon as I really honed in on what love was, and I was able to understand so much about, our loved ones who pass away. Sometimes they send messages to us, and it is through this love, it is through this substance, honestly, I wish I had a better way to articulate it. My vocabulary seems to fail me right now, but it's like, it's almost, and I describe it as like a cord. It's almost like a cord of light, but it transcends space, it transcends time, dimensions. It doesn't matter. No, nothing can stop love. Love is able to just be everywhere, go everywhere, reach everywhere. So when somebody transitions from this life to the next side, they can still contact you. You can still communicate with them if that love is alive and thriving and well. And this is what I came to understand. So I wanted to be able to go back to earth to build up my cord. I wanted to be able to go back so that I could make the love so strong between my husband and my children, so that I would not fade away, so that my essence, our love, would not fade away after the 8-year period, but it would last forever. So I wanted to go back with this. I wasn't afraid of dying. I was just, it was the feeling of not being able, for them not being able to feel me anymore. I knew that they would still remember me, but they would not be able to feel me anymore. And just think of it. I know that we've all experienced, if someone has died that's really close to us, at first it's like we could still feel them. We could almost still feel them around, almost still hear their laughter. We feel them. And then after a year, 2 years, 3 years or something, it's like you remember them, but you don't feel them anymore. And that is because that love is like fading, right? It's fading because we did not give our full attention, our full presence when we had moments with these people. So it's lasting a certain amount of time and then it goes. Now, there is a way that you can keep that love growing and going, because again, time and space does not separate us, right? So right now, to answer that question, how to love, you need to be present. There is no love. If you are in a situation and you're not being present, you are doing. Love is a being. Love is alive. Love is a being. It's conscious. It's a presence, right? Love is actually who we are. We are actually love. And in order for us to grow, we need to be more present. We need to be more present in ourselves. We need to be more present with people, with things, with our every action. And I have to say this, that, without getting too much into my past, I was raised as a Christian, and I've gone through a whole bunch of, studying world religions and all of that sort of stuff, and spirituality and all of this, right? However, it was not until after this closer to life experience that I actually started to understand what certain scriptures meant. And this was just very unexpected. I remember maybe it was like within a week or so after having the experience, after surviving and, being brought back into my body. The first week after that whole incident happened, the ambulance came. Obviously, I went to the hospital. I'm alive, right? So I survived it, and everything, turned out okay. Give thanks. But I remember that first week, I was just in and out of my body still. No, nothing like the closer to life experience, right? Nothing like that, because now my blood was stabilized and I wasn't bleeding out anymore. But my spirit just hadn't fully, anchored back into my body. Let's put it this way. So I was still going in and out. And it was very hard to integrate back into this world, because now I knew what love was. And all I could see around me, apart from my husband and children who were right there, it was just not love. There was so much fakeness happening that I like was struggling, because I'm like, I don't want to be here. I do not want to be here. It is too fake. Everybody it's like, I thought I just had the love wrong. But when I came here, it was like I was realizing the majority, I want to say all of us, but the majority of us were not loving in the right way. So then it's like everything around me was just crumbling, right? Like I couldn't go on social media. I couldn't listen to certain things. Like I just couldn't take it, because everything was just so fake. It was so fake. And that was really hard. It actually, and that was really hard. It actually took about like 2 weeks for me to settle in to my body and, anchor in and fully decide to be here. Because even if I knew like what it meant to love, I didn't want to have any interactions with the world. I really didn't. I was like, you know what? I'm here. Give thanks. I'm just gonna love my husband, really and truly love him. Like, I just want to build up that light, and I just want to build up the light with my children, because there's just so much fakeness happening, and it is too much. I was literally feeling like I would not be able to handle the fakeness, and I felt it's like my heart was expanding to love right, but my tolerance for the fake love was like, I'm like, people don't realize how little and how quick your life could end. And the biggest regret you will have is this, that you did not love. So I was seeing people just content with pretending, and I wanted no part. I wanted absolutely no part in it. I didn't want to get sidetracked or distracted from, not accomplishing what God had sent me back to do. I begged to come back to be able to love. And throughout that time, I would just, scriptures would just come into my mind, and I would go look up the scripture, and I would understand this thing fully. And I've always had a pretty good understanding of spiritual texts, but this is on a whole other level. Like, since I understood what love was, it's like I was looking at everything through this like lens of love. And so now whenever I would read, let's say like the Bible or anything else, I would just be able to understand it on a whole different level. And that to me was it's something I had to kind of really, reconcile and work through, my own journey, because like I said, I was raised, one way and all of that. And it's just, I've experienced so much trauma, not kidding, at the hands of church and church people. It just was like, I'm good with my relationship with Most High. And that's, I'm just gonna do, figure out my stuff, do my gifts, help people, whatever the case is. But no, I realize now that love is the principal thing. Love is the beginning of everything. Everything begins with love and continues with love. Love has no end, right? So I understand now that there's a reason why I was drawn to the character or the person of Yeshua. Some people say Jesus, I say Yeshua. So I was drawn to Yeshua because the words that Yeshua speaks are ancient words. They're words from the very beginning. And I know some people will say, well, Yeshua didn't exist and whatever. I actually don't care. It doesn't matter to me whether Yeshua existed or not. The words spoken are true. The words are right. So when Yeshua says something, or it's said that Yeshua said something and he's talking about love, these words can be found way before Yeshua even existed, right? Because these are ancient words of truth. Truth has been there since the beginning. And whether it comes from me or someone else or Yeshua or someone to come, truth will always be truth. So I don't need to exist for truth to exist. Truth will find its vessel. Okay, so it's not a conversation of whether Yeshua existed or not. I'm saying the message, the words are true words. So I would be reading, a scripture, and I could now understand it so deeply because my spirit had already been given the truth about love and who and what and how and why love is. So the only thing really worth living for, guys, is to love. And the way we love is by being present. If we want to be better at loving, if we want to actually love truly, we could start with the golden rule. In Matthew 7, verse 12, it says that whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. Whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. And again in Luke 6, we read, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. These two scriptures make it very clear that if we want to receive love, if we want love to be given to us, we have to give love to others. And when we give love to others, we also open up that doorway for others to give love to us. Right now, what's going back and forth between people is not actually real love, which is why most of us feel very isolated, which is why we have issues with proper connection with one another. To really love somebody means to be present with that person. To really love something, it means that you need to be able to be present. Love is a spiritual thing. Love is spirit. We read in the book of Genesis, and after shaping man from the dust, God breathed into man the breath of life, and man became a living being, or a living soul. So we are here and we are alive, and it is the presence of Most High in us. It is the breath of life in us that has given us consciousness. So we are spiritual beings, and if we are doing something and we are not fully conscious in that thing, then it is lacking a key ingredient. It's lacking spirit. It's lacking the one thing that will continue to go on forever and ever and ever. It is life. So love, like I was explaining, is actually something that you can feel. It's tangible. It's what has created everything. Love is life. Love is light. Love is presence. Love is consciousness. So if you want to learn how to love something, somebody more, start off with being present. If you would like someone to have a conversation with you and you want them to give you their full attention, you have to start giving people your full attention in conversations. Whatever it is that you're going to do it in the way that you would want someone to do it to you. And it's very important to realize that everything we do, we actually set a precedent, letting the universe know that this is something we want in our life. That is what we're saying by all of our actions. If you are mean to somebody, you're saying to the universe, I want somebody to be mean to me. If you are a liar, you are saying to the universe, I want to be lied to. This is how it works. This is the law of permittance. Anytime you do something, you actually are saying, I want this done in my life. Whatever you wish others do to you, that's what you should do to others. Meaning, whatever you do to others, you are letting the universe know that that is what you want others to do to you. So when we're talking about love, you want to have love. You want to receive love. You want to give love. It has to start with you. You are the one who gives permission for true love to enter into your life. So it starts with you. Be present. Give true love. When someone is speaking to you or when you're interacting with somebody, give them your eyes, give them your ears, give them your senses. And I love this way that it said, there's another scripture coming to mind where Yeshua was asked about what the greatest commandment was. And he says to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And he says, loving your neighbor as yourself is like unto the first one. And he said, these two commandments, all of the other commandments are hanging on these two, because the commandments could be separated into how you treat God and how you treat people, right? So if you love God with all your heart, which is all your desire, all your soul, which is all your emotions, all your feeling, and all of your mind, all of your senses, all of your knowing. If you love God with all of your being, right? You're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. You are the one with the presence of God within you. So that means you loving God means you have to be loving yourself. And the way you love yourself is how you're supposed to love another person. So if you're unable to give yourself that love, then you're not allowing for that love to come into your life. And if you allow for that love to come into your life by loving yourself and loving other people that way, then it's like it's a chain reaction that's happening. So I just want to stress to everyone who's watching this video that you cannot start loving anyone else until you start with yourself. Because when you love yourself is the first step into opening the doorway for that love to start coming into your life. You have to understand that there is power in your presence, and you have presence right now in this body. I know that there will be some people who would say, well, I love God and I'm loving myself and I'm loving God. So that should be good enough, right? Because people around me don't deserve love, or they aren't trustworthy, or all of that sort of stuff. I want to leave with you this scripture. 1 John 4, verse 20. If we say that we love God, but hate others, we are liars. We cannot love God, whom we have never seen, if we do not love others whom we have seen. So, again, whether you believe in God or not, really not my business. I'm just saying it. I'm trying to make this message reach as many people. And while I have referenced the Bible, Yeshua, and God in this video, it really does not matter what your belief is on any of these things. We all will leave this realm one day. And one day we will all have to give an account for our life. It will be right there flashing before our eyes. And we will see all of the people who we have encountered. We will know all of the things that we have done. Whether it is being judged by an outside God or your own consciousness, the fact is that you will one day have to review and weigh how you have loved. Have you given love, and have you received the love that was being given to you? It is my hope that this message will reach you and will reach into your spirit, your heart, and will help you to take a stand and take a step in first truly being present with yourself, loving yourself, in loving yourself, loving Most High, and from there going outwards to other people around you. Be present. Give your heart, give your mind, give your soul, whatever it is that you're saying you love. Your presence, the power of your presence must be there. Do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. If you're interested in knowing more about the near-death experiences that I had in January, please comment below and ask any questions that you have. I will try my best to answer your questions, or perhaps do another video. It is my joy to help you manifest your dream life and your highest self. Bye-bye.